Chapter 9. Israel. Israel could not remember a time he'd had a better weekend. After the dinner on Friday with Tiffany, they'd set up a church date on Sunday. As he was still new to the area, he'd agreed to try her church and found it refreshing. The pastor seemed biblically sound, and he'd taken copious notes over the sermon. After church, they'd gone on a walk through downtown, sharing more stories and goals for their lives. Though he knew it was too early to make any declarative statements, he enjoyed spending time with Tiffany. He was not one to believe in love at first sight, but he did believe one could have a feeling they had met the right person early on, especially if they prayed about it. And while he wasn't there yet, he could imagine a life with Tiffany. They were aligned in both the areas he believed were important, faith and family.
"How was your weekend, boss?"
Dustin asked as Israel entered the maintenance office. His teasing tone caused Israel to pause and consider his words before answering.
"It was fine. Why do you ask?"
But as he crossed to his desk, the reason for Dustin's question became clear. Sitting right in the middle was a coffee cup, and he could see black writing on the white cup from where he stood.
"Yeah, it seems like you have another admirer who may not know about your budding workplace romance."
Israel shook his head as he picked up the cup and read the scrawled note.
"Haven't seen you in a few days. Just wanted to remind you that coffee is available, as am I." "Did you ever give her some indication you were interested?"
Dustin asked, reading the cup over Israel's shoulder.
"No, I've only been in the coffee shop once, and I barely spoke to her. She was definitely flirty, though."
Dustin chuckled and shook his head as he returned to his smaller desk.
"Yeah, I've heard. So what are you gonna do about it?"
Israel hated confrontation. He would step in to diffuse situations, and he would stand up for what he thought was right. But pursuing a situation that would lead to a confrontation made him uncomfortable, to say the least.
"Do you think I have to say anything? If I don't respond, she'll get the message, right?"
Dustin folded his hands across his chest as he leaned against his desk.
"She might. Or she might decide that you're playing hard to get and come on even stronger."
Israel sighed and sank down into his chair.
"What would you do?" "That's a hard question to answer."
Dustin unfolded his arms and ran a hand across the back of his neck.
"Thankfully, my wife and child on the way have kind of kept me from having to deal with flirtatious women, though I'm kind of jealous of the free coffee." "Don't be. It carries a load of guilt."
Israel ran a hand across his chin, knowing what he had to do, but dreading it anyway.
"I guess I'll have to tell her that I'm seeing Tiffany, and sending me coffees is no longer appropriate."
Dustin whistled, his forehead wrinkling as one brow lifted.
"Seeing Tiffany? As in, exclusively? That's the only way I roll, my friend. I never saw the appeal of dating more than one woman at a time. Besides, in order to give a relationship my all, I can't have my feelings split between women. That's not fair to either party."
Dustin scratched at his chin as he nodded.
"You know, I never thought about it like that, but it makes sense. I'm kind of old school like you anyway. I tried dating in high school. You know, a different girl every week, but it was hard. And when I called one girl by the wrong name, I could tell it really hurt her feelings, which made me feel like scum. I decided after that I would only date one woman at a time, regardless of what she did. At first I thought it would be boring, but I found I was able to focus better on the woman I was seeing, and it was actually more fun. I think we feel that way because God made us to be with one person. We give a little piece of ourselves to everyone we're with, more if we are intimate with them. And if we date too many people, we have left to give to the woman we marry." "Makes sense. So do you think Tiffany could be the one?"
Dustin asked, shifting the conversation back to his original question. Fingers of heat licked up Israel's neck. Was she the one? He didn't know for sure, but he was definitely developing feelings for her.
It's too early to say that for sure, but I like being with her. We had dinner on Friday and then went to her church on Sunday.
Dustin crossed to his chair, filling the air with a long, squeaking sound as he sat and leaned back.
2 dates in 1 weekend. Sounds pretty serious to me. Yeah.
Another sigh spilled from Israel's lips as he lifted the coffee.
I guess I better go take care of this.
His footsteps were heavy as he shuffled out of the office and toward the coffee shop. And while he practiced what he would say in his head, nothing seemed right. Sophia greeted him with a wide smile when he entered. "Hey, sugar, did you get my present?" Her shirt displayed less cleavage today, but her hip was still cocked suggestively with her question.
I did, and thank you, but I'm going to have to ask you not to send any more free coffees to me.
Sophia's smile slipped, and tiny wrinkles of confusion erupted on her forehead. "Why not?" Israel shifted uncomfortably.
I'm kind of seeing someone currently, and I don't feel right taking them. I don't want to lead you on, or give her the impression of something between us that's not there.
For a moment, Sophia's face was expressionless, but then she chuckled and shook her head. "Is that all? You don't have anything to worry about, sugar. I give drinks out to more than just you. It's just my way of giving back around here. And since you're new, I thought I'd show you just what a great place this is. But if you don't want free coffee, I'll happily give them to others." Her words sounded as if she understood and accepted his position, but there was a false brightness in her tone that made him wonder if she really did or if this was all an act. He didn't want to call her out on it, though, as he guessed that might make the situation worse. So he decided to play along and hope that his gut feeling wasn't right.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Have a good day.
"Oh, I will. You too." Israel nodded, though he still felt uneasy about the whole exchange. However, there was little he could do about it. So he attempted to push it from his mind and return to his previous joyful feeling about the weekend, and Tiffany in particular. In fact, a stop by the childcare room just to say hello might be exactly what he needed. Tiffany was reading to the kids when he reached the door. He didn't want to interrupt her, but she glanced up and smiled before lifting a finger to tell him to wait a moment. As she finished the story, Israel listened to her melodic voice and realized he could envision her reading to their children in the future. Wait, he needed to take a step back. He couldn't really be thinking about marriage after just 2 dates, could he? But he knew it was possible. His own parents had gotten married just a few months after they began dating. But that was a different time, and in Mexico. "Hey, I was just going to come find you," Tiffany said, startling him out of his thoughts.
You were? Did you need something? Is the sink clogged again?
He scanned the room behind her, looking for any obvious issues. Tiffany laughed and placed a hand on his arm. "No, silly. I just wanted to come see you and wish you good morning." Israel returned her smile and covered her hand with his other.
I guess great minds do think alike. I won't keep you long, but do you feel like doing something tonight?
She nodded. "Do you golf?"
Golf?
He shook his head.
I can't say that I do.
Her smile widened. "Good. Then I know exactly what we're doing tonight. I'll send you the details later." She looked down as a little girl tugged on her pants. "I gotta go. See you tonight, though."
Looking forward to it.
Israel watched as she scooped up the little girl and swung her through the air, eliciting squeals and giggles from her before she set the girl back down. Yes, she would definitely make a great mom one day. That was for sure.